All right, guys. Hello and welcome to the ISRL Division 3 Brazilian Grand Prix. It's the last race of the season for these guys, round 16 out of 16. It's been a long ride, but we have made it to the end, and it is time for one last send-off here for Division 3. Now, the championship has already been wrapped up. That was last week in Coda after F1 Richie made a brilliant P10 to P1 drive, fending off his competitors along the way and clinching the championship in fashion there. And I guess a bit of a victory lap here for him. There are still a couple of positions to figure out here in the championship, but it is not for the win. Now, let's pull out the standings here just before we get too far, just so that you guys can see a little bit of who is fighting who here ahead of qualifying. And the big battles that we're going to have, Aizen can still catch up to Bumblebee for P2 in the championship. Krago, if he gets a win and Aizen gets a DNF, could catch up to P3. Sprunky is right behind Krago, 3 points, but he was not able to get in the lobby in time, so will probably not be able to race unless we have to reset the lobby anyways. Unfortunately for him, he's going to stay P5. Further down the order, we've got a couple of battles, especially around 10, 11, and 12, and the 13th spot, a couple of drivers close for those ones. But we'll give you a bit more detailed implications as the battles develop on track. Now, I did hear him join earlier. We have Ephraim in the lobby with me. Of course, I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Knight, by the way, but I think you knew that. But Ephraim's with me in the lobby, and Ephraim, we have an interesting race here around Brazil. It's our usual finale spot. I think we've ended 3 of our 4 seasons here in Interlagos. Can you tell us a bit of what we have to expect here on this race weekend?
Yes, first of all, please, if you can invite me to the lobby, because I'm not yet in the lobby.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to have to quickly interrupt the stream, guys, so if you can't see anything for half a second or so.
Also, you know that this is one of my favorites because last Wednesday I managed also to take the victory over here. Of course, I was a little bit lucky, but yes, I think it's still, if you didn't win this championship, you still need to fight, you still need to give it your all. Different strategies, and also I think one of the main things that helps here is the best strategy wins.
And it's a fast lap around this circuit. 108.1, the current fastest lap. I expect that to drop pretty significantly as we go through the qualifying session. 13 minutes left. There's 6 drivers who have set a lap time right now, and we'll make that 7 as Aizen goes provisional pole, and Krago right behind him, first man into the 107s, and it's a commanding 107.6 here for Krago, setting the pace early. I believe Richie is about to start his flying lap, so we'll tune in on him as we take you through a lap here around Interlagos. And turns 1 and 2, it's a nice big S pattern there. You got to kind of take an entry that's going to maximize your speed around turn 3 and down this straightaway. Turn 4 is a fairly heavy braking zone as far as this track goes, but still quite an open corner there as you turn into turn 5, up the hill into turn 6. And Richie not carrying there as much speed as he probably could, but it's early in the session. This track is not quite rubbered in, so not as much grip as you might think on this circuit right now. Still a decent lap here for the Ferrari. And here, this slow second sector, you just want to try to keep the car steady through the turns, not lose any time on the exit or on the entry with locking up or some wheel spin, and then on to this main straight. There's a couple bends in it, but you're flat out right up until you cross the line. And Richie is going to be setting, looks like a mid 108, no, in a 107.8. So he goes right up behind his teammate. I thought he had a longer run up to the line there, but no, Richie P2 here getting the Ferrari on the front row of the grid. And it's a Ferrari front row lockout if nothing changes.
Right now also I'm looking at what One Wing is doing. as he seems that he is running 7th. I know that also last Wednesday he had a very good race, but I think definitely in qualifying these drivers are going to be close, and if they can manage to do their fastest lap with a medium tire, it will be much better because you will be on a better position if there's no safety car. If there's a safety car, of course, it will be a little bit more compromised within strategy, but I think these drivers, they all know that if you go with the medium tire for the first few laps, you're going to be in a better position to get the most points. Another driver that I'm really looking forward to see how he's going to drive, because he was really driving well, it's Bakker. Bakker right now is doing his lap with his McLaren, and I think he's going to
coming
be
across the line here, yeah.
108.3.
108.3, right behind Zabi Xhaka, only 400ths between them, 2 tenths ahead of One Wing, and I think that was Hartmann coming through to the start finish line here, going P6. That's a good lap for the Red Bull of Hartmann. We haven't seen that kind of pace from him in qualifying in recent races, but it would be nice to see that Red Bull starting near the front. It's got to get out of the way now. And he does. And that's Zabi Xhaka in the Renault, who I think is going out for another lap. If we take out the fitted tire telemetry, you'll see always Rick on the medium tires currently. But what did he set that lap on? He did set it on the mediums. Always Rick has some pace around here. P4 on the mediums right now.
You also, we don't need also to forget, because here it's much of an ERS track, you know. You gain a lot of ERS if you don't use that much. You don't need to use that much only in the last straight, because it's one of the it's kind of a finish line where you have a lot of DRS. If someone have DRS and the other car in front of you doesn't have, you have a lot of advantage.
Yeah,
it's a really long straight line. But
Zabi,
yeah,
go ahead. Go, you can finish, sorry.
Now, as we go ahead, and you see that most of the drivers here, either they're going for a soft medium, or else you're going for a soft hard. If you're going for a soft medium, you're going to be faster in the few laps, and then the hard tires will start catching on.
Yeah, we'll see if that's the case in the race. However, I did see Hartmann comment there on our stream saying rain baby, and it's very sunny right now, so I'm assuming he's talking about potentially some rain during the race, and that would definitely throw the pit strategy, the tire strategy, especially in qualifying, completely out of the window. Lots of cars in the pits right now, and with 8 minutes to go, we should see them coming back out on track fairly soon. Aizen's on his out lap. I believe Zabi Xhaka and Doomsray are both on an in lap. Yeah, Zabi Xhaka is not pushing. So we'll take a look at Aizen here. He's chasing Bumblebee for P2 in the championship. Bumblebee currently P12. And with potentially rain, I don't know if it's at the start or not. We'll have to look in our stream here. If one of the drivers is listening and can tell us there in our comments when the rain is going to be there, or if it's for the whole race, or what's happening here. It'll help us kind of understand some of these tire strategies for these guys. And Rick, if true it is going to rain for a while, you should probably get off those mediums. Those are going to be, well, they're slower in quali, and he's not going to have a great time during the race here if he's qualifying further down the grid, because he's not opting for those fastest tires. So Bumblebee's saying we're going to have a wet full race, so it should get pretty chaotic down here in Brazil.
Right now we have 15 cars in the grid. Let's hope that in the last few laps we still have 15 cars.
Yeah, I rather get the feeling we're going to be closer to 10 than we are to 15, but hopefully we are in the double digits here. It is the last race of the season, so most of the grid is more or less set where they are, but still a couple of positions that could change around if some guys get DNF. So, Aizen with a big moment. He does very well to not put that in the wall. I mean, he's got to make sure not to get in the path of the Haas of One Wing there. as he is stranded at the side of the track. Might want to get moving soon though, else he might get disqualified from the session. You wouldn't want that. Looks like always Rick is on a decent lap here on the soft tires.
I didn't see what happened to Aizen, you said?
He got a little bit of grass on the exit and just spun the car a little bit.
I was looking at the standings right now.
Yeah, Rick, but just right before we get into that, Rick does get provisional pole here with 5 minutes left, 107.3, so 3/10 up on P2. It does show that this track is ramping up pretty considerably.
As I think last time in Division 4 we've seen around 1.6, but of course we had Mark, which is really fast. But for Division 3, I think 1.73 is a really good pace, and if he can manage to keep that pace in the race as well, it will help him a lot. Right now I'm seeing the standings. I'm seeing that Aizen is around 30 points behind Bumblebee, and Bumblebee is only in 12th position right now. So it seems that Aizen needs to get at least 2nd position. Yes. How much points they get for 2nd position?
Second is 33 points, and yeah, if Bumblebee finishes this race, he's guaranteed to get at least 1 point because there are only 15 cars on the grid. Let's say he finishes in the top 8, then I don't think he. I think he would have enough points here to stay ahead of Aizen. If he finishes 10th, he's going to get 10 points. If he finishes 9th, I believe we're up to 12 and then 14. So it's going to be, he's got to finish somewhere in 9th or worse if Aizen gets a podium. So a tough task ahead of Aizen to get ahead of Bumblebee, I think.
So now, to those drivers who are missing the race, the last race of the championship, we have Sprunky, who is in a really good battle with Craigo to get the 4th position, but unfortunately he's missing the race. And also, if I'm not, I think Maverick. The Maverick is not here, no?
Maverick does not appear to be. He was having trouble getting in, and we were trying to wait and make sure that he could get into the lobby. Unfortunately, same thing with Sprunky. They're both here, but not able to get into the lobby on time. And this game has had a couple of issues recently with if people join in the middle of qualifying and then claim a race seat. The lobby does tend to crash out or bug out at the end of qualifying. Some people just get blue screens halfway through qualifying and then they can't get in again, and we have to restart the whole lobby. So to avoid that, we said it's the last race of the season. Let's not overcomplicate things and have to deal with a bunch of restarts. If you're not in the lobby when ready up is given, sorry, you can't race. And so unfortunately we had a couple drivers with connection issues that can't race.
Very good. Now also looking at Monkeys. Monkeys is the DRS straight over here. They're running on turn 4.
4/10 up on his time through the first sector there. Considering that's only 2 to 3 turns, that's a pretty good time save.
In fact, as I'm looking, he's really taking advantage with the curbs.
Oh, a little bit deep there. That's going to cost him some time, but I think he's got enough in the bank to still improve his lap.
In fact, can he be aware of the track limits? Here, most of the drivers suffer a lot of track limits in turn 4 and also turn 8.
Yeah, but turns 1 and 2.
Good sector.
Yeah,
fast sector for Monkeys.
He is on a very fast lap here, despite going deep there in turn 7. But he is doing very well so far as he's coming through the straight up to the finish line, not taking the shortest line to the left. Still good enough to improve by 6/10. He goes P11 right behind his teammate. And what you were mentioning, Ephraim, you were mentioning track limits. How easy is it to make a mistake here in turns 1 and 2 and end up going a little bit deep and taking a track extension limit there as well? There's a couple of tricky corners around this circuit, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw penalties play a big role at the end of this race.
Most of the times you will lose a little bit of control and get a little bit more the curb when you're the dirty air of another car, because at this track there's a little bit of dirty effective, and also you need to be really aware that when the cars in front of you, you need to also take the same racing line that you're taking, because it can easily go wrong and you can take a penalty. But not a lot of penalties here in this race so far, in the races I've been commentating before. But I think so, Division 3, they are really aware that if they take penalties, they are so close between them that they can't afford to take any penalties.
It's a very balanced tier, like you said, and especially with safety cars in this game, the way you get bunched up, you don't want to take penalties to begin with. Because then he is a late safety car, and turns out the guy that you were like, well, he's 6 seconds behind me, I have 3 seconds in penalties, I should be safe. Well, he's now less than a second behind you, and it can easily throw your race around here, towards the end of it especially. But especially when the grid is this close like it is in Division 3, and a couple of tenths separating these guys, we get frequently finishes with guys battling throughout the race and finishing on each other's diffusers, essentially. And when that happens and you're the one with more penalties, you can drop 5-6 positions down the grid. And we've seen guys, Monkey's had a few great results this season where he doesn't take any penalties the whole race. Costs him a little bit of time. He might cross the line, in 11th, but then he rockets up the standings and finishes 6th. So it's a track where you've got to be careful. Always Rick as qualifying rolls to 0 on provisional pole right now. I believe Crago, we're following the later Ferrari. Crago is coming to the line right now. Can he improve his time in the final sector? They are tied currently, and no, not going to improve his time. And so Always Rick setting that lap time first. We were talking about how close it was. The top two are essentially equal. F1 Richie crosses on. He doesn't improve. Bumblebee not going to improve as he's warming up his tires here. Bacher, is he on a lap? No, he's not. And so that's going to be the end of qualifying. We've got a tie at the top.
In fact, it was Always Rick who got the first fastest lap. So basically, Crago, because he set it the second guy who set the fastest lap, the same time of Always Rick, the rule applies like the usual Formula 1 does. So basically, Always Rick is lucky.
Now,
let's consider that lucky that he's starting in the pole position.
It's going to be a fun run down to turn 1 if first and second are that evenly matched, but it's like that all the way down the grid today. The top two with a 107.392, but 2 tenths, or sorry, not even a tenth and a half behind him, Bumblebee with a 107.5, and right behind him, Bacher, 500ths in behind Bumblebee in P4. Aizen's only a half a tenth behind them. Half a tenth behind Aizen is Doomsday. We're down to P6, and we're only 3 tenths behind the leader. And pole position, and I think we have to go all the way down to outside of the top 10. We'll confirm with that soon here, before we get a position that's more than a second back. Yeah, look at that, all the way to 7th within 4 tenths of a second. Half a second covers the top 8. Xavi Xhaka right outside that half a second mark in P9. Hartman 6 tenths behind Always Rick in P10. Cozy P11, not where he's used to qualifying, but I think he'll take a change of pace here, given how the last couple of races are going. Might as well try something new. Monkey's P12, and now finally One Wing in P13. He's the first man over a second behind the leader, and it looks like CJ Butch might need an invite. CJ, if you're watching the stream and you get your invite, please do not join during the formation lap, because that also kind of bugs the lobbies out. You might have to join like right after the start, unless you can join right now, before the formation lap starts.
Yes, but then he will not end up racing, because if the formation lap starts, he will end up losing his position. But we need to mention now who's going to be the master of the rain, because I know that these drivers, all of them, suffer a lot, even if they use a little bit of assist, because these are Division 2 drivers, not that experienced, but definitely I think the biggest chance to win here is for Krego or Bumblebee, because Always Rick, he needs a little bit more of experience. But good luck, Always Rick. Let's hope you will do it.
We'll see who can do it very soon as they head off into the formation lap here. CJ Butch is in the lobby. His car is on the grid, so if he can rejoin after the start, he'll be okay. He's qualified P14, so it's not going to be too big of a loss here. So Chris, if you can get a invite either from Ephraim or somebody else in the lobby, just make sure you rejoin after lights go out. I know it's a small disadvantage, but it's better than having to restart the whole lobby. Although, if the lobby does break, then maybe a Sprunky can get in. I do hope it doesn't glitch out on the grid there in that case, if he has rejoined.
Yes, but Sprunky can join because already the race started, so...
Yeah.
I hope to see very good racing, not a lot of accidents between the drivers, but I want to see some fighting, good fighting between them.
Yeah, in the rain especially, it's always exciting.
Yeah, they need to keep in mind. I already see Chris, he collided with Doomsray. In fact, they ended up disqualified already. But it's very important to warm a little bit your tires in this type of weather. They're going to stay with this weather until the end of the race, so they need to be really aware what to do in the strategy-wise. Because, as we said before, if you're using a controller, you will have a little bit more of tire wear. So the best strategy for this kind, I think it will be wet tires, and go for a pit stop, and you take another wet tires.
Yeah, it's the Amazon predicted pit stop does show 2 sets of wets there, but it doesn't take weather into account. The sky doesn't look all that dark. And it looks like if we take our, everybody is on the wets. Could we maybe see this rain ease up, make it just on the edge, just on the cusp there of making inters okay? We could potentially see that. So I do still expect, while I don't think we're going to get any dry weather racing here in Brazil, I do expect at the very least some pit strategy to come affect the race, but I think they're all lined up, and good for us. It looks like we are good to go, yes, and 4-5 red lights is a weird angle, but we'll take it. On board with the leader. Always Rick is off. The rest of the grid is off, and it looks like a lot of wheel spin from some of these guys, but it looks like Krego getting the better start into turn 1. That's Bumblebee trying to move down the inside of Always Rick. Always Rick had a bad start. He's always already down into P3. They're shuffling in the back. Look at that, having to take the inside line through turns 3. That's Hartman. He's going to lose a lot of positions from that. I don't think we've had any big spins here. One Wing has lost positions, and as they come barreling down through turn 3, it looks like Bacher is going to take the position on Always Rick. And if I'm not wrong, those two might be brothers. Oh, what's happened here? I think CJ Butch has gone straight off. And did something happen between him and another car to push him that way? Or did he just slide off the racetrack on his own? One Wing is damaged.
It was a late braking. It was a late braking, and also a safety car right now.
Yes, because of that stranded car of CJ Butch. We've lost one already before the end of the turn. Did you see what happened there, Ephraim?
Yeah, basically CJ Butch, who was running in the straight, I think he was trying to overtake some guy, but definitely he didn't brake, and he ended up in the wall. But yeah. That's what happened.
I have no doubt that is going to get reported and investigated to and by the stewards. But safety car lap 1, if we take a look at what's happened here on our first lap and with the position changes, the ticker is all messed up. That's bad timing on it. But I think Krego P1, Bumblebee P2. That looks like Bacher in 3rd place. Always Rick down to P4. Our pole sitter has lost 3 positions here on the start. And I'm just waiting till we get to the end of the timing board for sector 1 there, so it fixes my standings order. So yeah, Craigo, Bumblebee, and Bacher all gain a position. Always Rick loses 3 off the start. He's taken a penalty. How big is that penalty? It's a 5-second, and Chris has a 5-second as well. I do wonder if that might have been with for contact under safety car or something of the sorts. A's and Doomsray hold position here on the start. Chris and Zabijaka gain 1 each. Joseph Cozy gains 2. Richie is down 3 positions. I'm sure Azen and Bumblebee would have liked to see that kind of start from Richie last week. But last week, I think he was up 8 positions by the end of the first lap. Hartman's down a spot. Monkeys holds position. One Wing holds position. And Sinful gains a spot because CJ Butch is out of this Grand Prix. So we've lost a couple guys there from where they started. Richie down a few. CJ Bush out of the race, plain old and simple. Sinful had to pit. He's going to be able to queue back up here thanks to the safety car. But as we head on to lap 3, it's going to stay out, so we're going to get another lap of this.
Nick,
does it look, Efron, does it look like it's drying up at all?
Not at all. In fact, I was going to tell you that I'm watching the POV of Always Rick. He can't see any drivers in front of him, only spray. Cars are really pushing on. I don't know why they're so close to each other in the safety car. They need to give a little bit of more space to each other, you know, to warm their tires, because they will end up losing their wing and take a 5 seconds of penalty that they need to also serve in the pits when they're changing their wing. So
and
really,
early on in the race,
they need to calm down and relax a bit.
Mm-hmm. Early on in the race, sometimes you'll take the penalty and you won't take any wing damage, so you won't have to pit right away. You're going to keep racing. You'd be in a great position. You do your regularly scheduled pit stop, and what do you know? You got a 5-second. Your rivals undercut you or overcut you, and you end up losing positions way later in the race where it matters a lot more. So you should be taking those 10 car lengths that you're given under safety car here. No reason to bunch up. Not until, at the very least, not until the safety car signals that is coming into the pits. It looks like with the field getting bunched up again, I could see the safety car coming in now. 2 drivers with 5-second penalties. Everybody else looks like they've managed to keep it clean through the first couple of corners. Are we going to get safety car? Yes, it is in this lap. The lights go out, and Craigo is now going to pace the field. This, if you're going to bunch up, it's now that you do it, because now it matters how close you are to the guy ahead. Now it matters that you stay very close, and then that's exactly what I thought. I heard you react to it, saw it at the corner of the stream there. Bacher giving Bumblebee a slight tap. Now Bumblebee's going to have to serve that penalty on his next pit stop, even though he had nothing to do with it. Luckily for Bumblebee, though, could probably get that removed at the end of the race. But we're off. We're back under green flags here. Craigo with an excellent start. Bumblebee follows him. Rick looking eager to take that position back away from Bacher. And through turn 1, he does, braking perfectly there in the Williams. And he puts that McLaren behind him. Now Bacher's going to have Azen to fend off. It does look to me like Bacher potentially not warming up his tires properly, because he's dropping quite rapidly off the start. Looks like everybody else shuffling through these first couple of corners okay, and you can see how bad the spray is. We can barely see the back of the field from down the straightaway. It looks like nobody has lost or gained any significant positions here off of this restart. I think it looks like Richie might have gotten back ahead of Hartman, I think, but that's about it. So Richie up into P9, but I'm no longer sure where he started. Looks like everybody is getting a bit of a grip for the car around here. I don't see too many guys really struggling with grip.
Richie, in fact, started in 7th, but now he's in 9th position. But let's all take a look at the penalties. 5-second penalties for the 2nd, 3rd, 4th driver. Craigo here is in a big chance of just playing his race fair, with clean, without getting any penalty, and to a win. It's
gonna definitely affect the races of the guys behind him. Bumblebee, if he does take some corner cutting penalties, then he has to serve that 5-second in the pit. And there's no very late safety car. He will get that 5-second removed. We usually do that pretty automatically here. because like we saw it on stream, he wasn't at fault there. He got tapped in the rear, and so we could probably ignore that. That doesn't mean he's not going to lose track position or worse in the pit stop, though. So it could still negatively affect his race, even if he gets that removed at the end. And what's going on here? Side by side, I think, Doomsray and Chris, that's a daring move into that uphill right-hander. You take it almost flat out here in the dry. Definitely not the case in the wets, but Chris doesn't care too much as he goes down the inside of Doomsray. That was a beautiful move by the Racing Point.
Chris is really looking fast over here with that Racing Point, actually. I think that he was around 2 seconds in the first lap. Now he's really joining Aizen, Bakker, and always Rick together. A lot of spray for Aizen. He can't see anything from Bakker, but Aizen also, he did the fastest sector right now. Maybe he will push to go for a fastest lap. He has a lot of ERS to spray. On the other hand, Grego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought Chris was having a bit of a bad time there. I saw the rear end start to step out, but he caught it well enough. He lost some time, but luckily for him, not losing any positions onto the main straight. Yeah, he just had a bit of a scary moment. Someone else having a scary moment trying to hang around the outside there. You saw Bakker trying to go around the Williams of Always Rick. Bumblebee's been getting quite close to Craigo here. Craigo's not quite breaking away from the pack. And remember, Craigo got a much better restart. So Bumblebee's actually been closing in this gap at the front. And as these guys start to bunch up closer, definitely think this is going to be the battle to watch. They're looking mighty close. Always Rick, remember, setting the same time as Craigo in qualifying. Is Bumblebee going to go around the outside? He's thinking about it. He's got to get traction. And he does get the traction around the outside. Bumblebee, what a beautiful move. Is this going to open the door for Always Rick to maybe have a go as well? No, it might actually open the door for Bakker to have a go on Always Rick as the leaders try to trade positions here. Bumblebee's already sunsetting off into the distance, and I think it's so close onto the penultimate turn, and it looks like another moment from Always Rick on the acceleration. Bakker is now going to have a better run down the straight as he gets ahead of the Williams right before the grass, but watch out for the slipstream. It is a thing even in the rain, and Always Rick side by side with Bakker right behind Craigo. They're battling everywhere. This is letting Bumblebee get away. And Always Rick back in P3. These two are not giving up. What a battle they're having. Right behind them, Aizen and Chris just licking their paws, looking for scraps. And they could come sooner rather than later if this battle doesn't relent. And Craigo, I think, is kind of bottlenecking these guys into each other. He has not had much pace since the restart.
Look at Aizen where he is. So Aizen right now, he's running 5th. He had the fastest lap as soon as I told you. He did the fastest sector then. He did the fastest lap. But look also at Chris. He's trying. Aizen, Bakker's trying to take it on Always Rick. This is so close between them. In fact, right now, I don't want to see any stupid moves from Bakker or Always Rick because they're really struggling with those tires. But also, the rain is not even easing a bit. So let's see, there's no DRS. All you need to do is use that much of DRS, but these drivers, almost the top 5, I think all of them, they use a lot of DRS. The only driver who have full DRS, if it's not a glitch, this time is Chris. Chris, he have around 60% of DRS.
Chris has been stuck behind this queue for a while. Would not be surprised to see him saving that battery. In the meantime, though, we did see Craigo have a bit of a better go there on this straight. He's gotten that gap up to a second. DRS, of course, not of significance around a wet circuit. They don't activate it until it's dry enough. So that's not going to affect anything. But over a second, you start kind of noticing less toe if you're behind another car down the straightaway. Now, another thing I did want to bring up, you did mention, Ephraim, that the rain doesn't look like it's easing, and we always talk about that, right? We always say, well, when is the rain going to stop? When is it going to stop raining? When can we go back to slicks? We don't talk about what if it gets worse very often when the race starts wet, do we? Because this isn't the worst kind of rain I've seen in F1 2020. It could always start raining a little bit more, and then when you're out there on treacherous conditions like that with used wet tires, that's when accidents start to happen.
You use it also. You will lose a lot of grip. on these tires. But also let's look at the track. Right now there's a racing line which is being a little bit more dry, but also the drivers are losing some fuel from their cars and they're getting faster. From the other hand, there's also a good battle between F1 Richie, Hartman and Joseph Cosi. So they are still close between them, a little bit of a gap between Cosi and Chris, but also Aizen is getting also a bit losing a lot of power from Bakar and Always Rick, basically, because
1.2 second the gap now.
Bakar is trying to overtake Always Rick, but on the other hand, Always Rick is stuck behind Krego. Krego is really losing a lot of time from Bumblebee as he's around 3.7 seconds away.
Yeah, we are still about.
They have a penalty.
They do, that's true. We are still about 7 or 8 laps away from the start of the pit stop window, unless somebody goes for a massive undercut. The wet weather tires don't wear out a whole lot. They are, however, easy to overheat or easy to not heat up, depending on your setup, depending on the track conditions, as they get more worn. So while you might still have a low percentage in terms of wear, that doesn't always mean that they're going to be handling the way you want them. And could see, as we saw there, Rick, the rear end getting a little bit loose. We saw Always Rick having a bit of a moment there. That's the kind of grip I'm talking about. It won't outright always be slipping on you, but one lap where you're used to having grip, well, the next lap maybe your tires are going to be too hot, maybe they're going to be too cold, then you're not going to have the grip you're expecting. You're going to turn the car in a little bit too aggressively, and with the track this wet, as soon as the rear end steps out, good luck trying to save it.
I think Krego maybe have some wing damage because he's losing a lot of time and he started very well. So right now, Always Rick is really struggling behind him. He hit his back already 2 times or 3 times.
Yeah.
He needs to be aware that he will not also damage his wing, you know?
I don't think Krego has any wing damage. I'm looking at his front wing right now, at least from the trackside cameras. If there is wing damage, it's light green. If anything, I think Krego might be on a dry setup or something of the sorts, and that does compromise your where maybe he's just not happy with the car around here today. But you're right, Always Rick needs to be patient, because if he damages his wing, he's going to hurt himself much more than he's going to hurt Krego. And speaking of exactly that, he goes right into the rear. Krego, I don't know if Krego had to slow down if he got loose, because Always Rick absolutely closed in on him like a rocket. Around goes Krego into the wall. They both have wing damage, and Always Rick had to keep going. He missed the pit entrance. He's going to have to go around the track here with a lot of wing damage. No safety car, no VSC. That was a very, very weird incident.
What happened with Bumblebee? Bumblebee had a moment as well, because he was around 4 seconds away.
You're right.
5 seconds away. And Bumblebee seems that he took a little bit of a spin as well.
You're right.
Right now, I don't know what's happening, but they're losing a lot of grip.
And I think
Always Rick, I think he will be facing the stewards on the action as well.
Unless the only way I can see that incident going without a penalty for Always Rick is if Krego had a moment, was forced to hit the brakes to catch the car, and Always Rick had nowhere to go. Because in that case, that's it's a product of the track conditions. It's just something that happens. However, if Always Rick did drive up the rear there of Krego, and Krego didn't do anything but go a little bit slower than Always Rick, that is most definitely a penalty. The fact, however, as Bakker now going down the inside of Always Rick, he's going to get the position well ahead of turn 1. I was going to say the fact that front wing on Always Rick exploded as soon as he hit Krego. I think Krego was having trouble there and was going much slower than what Always Rick anticipated.
Nick, but he was using his ERS as well.
Yeah, but that was the closing speed was a
little bit of a curve as well.
Yeah, I did not have the greatest angle for it, for what it's worth. I was kind of awkwardly behind, so I'm just going off of what I saw the first time around here. Of course, we'll have to have the stewards look at it. as this battle's cooling off here, we'll put somebody else on the screen, but I did want to talk about what happened to Bumblebee there. I think he did have a spin more or less at the same time. The gap was over 4 seconds, went down to under a second. It's now back up to around 2 seconds, 1.9 as it stands. He did have a moment. Looks like he's recovered from it nicely. He's been able to set that gap right back to where it was before. Or not right where it was before, but sorry, where it was a few laps ago, and not within striking distance of the McLaren of Bakker. But that doesn't mean he's out of the woods yet. Keep in mind, Aizen's right behind Ulrich. He's looking pretty prone to getting past the Williams soon. If Aizen can get in that battle at the front, Bumblebee is going to be facing a lot of pressure. Remember, Aizen's trying to finish ahead of him in the championship. If Bumblebee finishes in the top 3, he's going to clinch second place. But
Nick,
if Aizen gets at the front and Bumblebee has an issue, he could be in trouble.
Nick, we're seeing here driver which was really on the front row. He's struggling a lot because he took a gamble and put those intermediates. Why do you put an intermediate when the rain is really going hard? And he's losing a lot of... He's losing a super amount of time. With those straight line, he's taking a lot of wear also on the tires.
Yeah,
I think he better go to pit and take a wet tires again.
It
But
could
I don't know what
be,
he's up to.
it could be, if I had to wager a guess, that Jeff told him the rain was going to ease up soon, and he figures, well, if I have to pit now, I'd rather lose time for 3 or 4 laps and not have to pit again, because then you end up losing less time overall, then you might as well just pit right now and get the inters. He was losing time. He's gained 2 seconds here since you brought that up. And could it be that he was just having a hard time finding grip on those tires, and they are a little bit faster now? Because we have been seeing the wet tires struggle with a few of these guys yet.
But also keep in mind that if you put it on a leader interval, he's losing a lot of time from Bumblebee, which is he's on the wet tires. So Sinful is really going slow because he's struggling a lot in this race in the wet. But from Bumblebee, if you see it in a straight line, Craigo is losing around the second in the finish line straight. So it's still not the intermediate tires, and still you're going to struggle and get maybe also some track limit penalties because you will not brake in time. And he is really struggling also in traction.
Now, not looking great here for Craigo, but it was a gamble worth taking if he did think that track was clearing up. In my opinion, you're already way out of it. If there is a safety car, there's nobody behind you, so you can afford that extra pit stop to get on the perfect strategy again. And without a safety car, he doesn't really stand a chance at getting back into it unless he lucks into that ideal tire and just starts setting laps there. So I understand the gamble. Hopefully for him, though, it does pay off in the next couple of laps, and he's not forced to go back out onto the inters. It looks like a lot of battles have cooled down here.
Now it's time for the interns. As you see, the rain is easing a lot. Now it's time for the interns. But they are still struggling for the right temperatures, because also you can see Craigo left, right, but he's still losing a lot of time. But still, these drivers, they need to keep you aware that this is only one pit stop race. So if you're on the one pit stop, you need to at least take until lap 18.
If you're in the stream right now, well, we have a bit of a lull in the race. Don't forget to subscribe to us if you haven't already. We've got 2 more races coming on later today, and it's the finale for both Division 2 and Division 1 right after this one. And we'll tell you exactly when it starts once this broadcast ends. But it's going to be on the channel all day. You can't miss it if you come back about half an hour after this race. Don't forget also to check out all the links in the description if you want to support us on social media with merch, or just by visiting our partners and giving them some recognition as well. It has been a very fun season, and ups and downs as always, I think, for drivers, for the league, for the staff, but we're at the end of it, and it's been a pleasure. So let's carry on the second half of this race as we approach the halfway point. And just thank you if you're in the stream right now, giving us a watch. Now, Doomsray got ahead of Hartman there down the straightaway. That was an easy move down the slipstream. And Richie is very close. You're right to Cozy. Not close enough to make a move there, but you're right. He has been gaining for a few laps now.
And also, fantastic by Aizen. Aizen is really looking good, and he doesn't have any penalties so far as well. Always Rick, Blocker, and Bumblebee, they all have penalties. So far, Aizen, he can really put that car on the podium today.
My concern with Aizen, he's been stuck behind Always Rick for a few laps now. Always Rick, remember, has wing damage. So I understand that would make him a little bit faster down the straights, and this track very bendy. It's hard to actually, before we finish talking about that, Hartman's had a spin here in the middle of sector 2. Don't see any wing damage there, but careful not to get in anybody's way. That looks like it was coming out of turn 9, almost having another one coming out of turn 10 there, and well done saving that. I think his tires might be cooked though. Chris, well, what's happened here? And Chris is in P4 because Aizen's dove into the pits. He's putting another set of wets on. So Aizen does not think it's time for inters yet. Sorry, who took a 5-second penalty?
Aizen, because he speeded in the pit lane.
Oh no, and you were just talking about how he had no penalties. That's one he's not going to be able to remove from the stewards there because that's all his doing. One wing taking penalties as well.
Had the best strategy here, huh?
I'm not sure if he does. If the rain never lets up, if we finish on full wets, which I'll be honest with you, it's kind of looking like we might as it stands. If we finish on full wets, it's very likely that 5-second penalty is going to hurt him, yes, but the fact that he pit earlier, he's got more pace, could play out in his favor. Now, this backfires as soon as we need inters, because Aizen's going to have to pit again if we need inters at any point.
There's a big fight between Richie, Zabijaka, and Joseph Cozy. And Zabijaka managed to overtake Richie because he took a moment of traction over there. But Richie, look at where he is right now. He's using all his overtake to try to overtake Zabijaka, while Joseph Cozy is also using his overtake. There's no DRS advantage, and these drivers are really into a fight.
Zabijaka running a little bit low on fuel there, so at some point or another he's going to have to stop and save. He takes a penalty there, which will help Richie, as Zabijaka up to 6 seconds of penalties right now. But it's still a long race, so he doesn't have to save right now. You could run a couple laps under fuel and still make it to the finish line okay, as long as you save when it matters, and of course before the final lap. So as Zabijaka trying everything he can to get past Cozy, we see it here on board with Richie from the back, and see that Renault looking absolutely everywhere, glancing down the inside, looking around the outside. Nothing's working right now for Zabijaka. Trying to go around the outside, maybe. We saw Bumblebee pull a move there earlier this race, and what a move it was. But Zabijaka, nothing is cutting it right now. Will he get another chance down the straight? He got Richie right in this corner last lap. We tuned in right as that move was being completed. But if he can get a good run down this straightaway here, I think Cozy might be toast. And Cozy's got more overtake though. He's been a little bit more patient, a bit better with the ERS, and he's actually going to pit. That's going to give the position to Zabijaka, as Richie's going to pit as well. I think these guys are done with these tires. Now, Bumblebee taking a 5-second for speeding, goes on the wets, and serves his 5-second penalty, which means he's basically broken even there. Serving that penalty led to nothing in the pit lane. The good news for him, though, no other penalties. So if he appeals that penalty he got for being run into, he's still going to end up with no penalties, provided we don't get a late safety car. Comes out a second ahead of Aizen. So Aizen looks like that early pit stop might have paid off in the end.
So if he ends up having that 5 seconds penalty, so it will not count because he didn't All right, okay, I understood now. Okay, because
Yeah.
I was a little bit confused on how you said it. But
So see,
yes,
he served that first one that he got for getting hit, but he picked up another one along the
Wasn't
way.
his
So
fault.
if since he did serve a 5-second in the pit, and he has an outstanding one, if he appeals it, and there's no
won't count.
late safety car to bunch the field up together, we just remove the other one instead, because at that point he's been hindered by the same amount. Further back,
Right
so
now,
look. Sorry.
So right now I'm looking at Aizen as he pitted a lap before, and right now he's running fourth. He have a 5 seconds penalty. Bumblebee, he have a 5 second penalty, but the penalty won't count. But right now also the leader, Chris, pitted from the first position. I think he will end up in 5th or 6th, because it seems that Monkeys, he didn't pit yet, yeah?
Yeah, Cozy coming through turns 1 and 2 right now. I don't think he's close enough to overtake Chris, so Chris will be coming out in 5th. But I think it's going to be 4th if Zabijaka has to pit again, and he will, because last time he pit was very, very early on in this race. Aizen, so Aizen's pitting early. We weren't sure about that. It's paid off, because look, so he's come out ahead of Bakker, he's come out ahead of Chris, he's come out behind Bumblebee. But Bumblebee had a much bigger gap than 1.3 seconds over Aizen before this round of pit stops. So Aizen effectively leapfrogging a few guys here, because I think if he had waited, Chris could have overcut him or undercut him, or whatever term you want to use, and Chris would have gone ahead of him, I think. So good call there on the early pit stop from Aizen. F1 Richie is starting to catch up to this group as well. Chris is 9.9 seconds behind the de facto leaders, if we're not counting Zabijaka right now. He is leading the race, but look at that. He pits on cue and going to be dropping down a few positions. So Chris battling with Cozy and Richie for 5th, essentially. How is this pace looking like? I think Cozy has been a bit faster since getting on those tires. Look how close he is to Chris.
Ooh, Doomsday had a big hit over there. He ended up
and there's that safety car we were warning about, and he's parked way across the track. One wing with an absolutely fancy around the outside on the grass move to avoid that. I feel like hitting your brakes may have been an easier, less risky solution, but you kept the car in one piece. And with that crash from Doomsday, we've seen guys crash there before in this drenched 2016 race. In real life, because a couple spins onto the main straight, as there's a lot of standing water sometimes in the dips near the racing line. So catches Doomsday out. Did you see exactly what caused it, or did you just see the aftermath there?
No, yes. Basically, he lost his traction and he ended up touching a bit the grass, and he went directly off on the wall. Definitely, that's not a good situation over there. But also, we need to mention that Craigo almost hit the safety car, and he ended up running into the grass. But Craigo is losing a lot of time on those tires. It's the time to pit. If you're listening, Craigo, it's a time to pit.
Yeah, so Craigo, if we look at tires here, whoops, I'm on the wrong graphic. So he's still the only one on the inters. He's managed to gain up to 10th. Now, I don't know if you've noticed that the rain actually has started to ease up here. It is not as heavy as it once was. Craigo's going to pit, but I see other cars in the pit. Could we maybe see Craigo pitting off of the inters right as other people get on the inters?
I don't know if they're going to go for an inter, but he went for a new pairs of inter. So,
so everybody else opting to stay on the wets, Craigo going back on the inters. I guess he must have been happy with how that tire felt as the track evolved here.
Let's say that he used a lot of his tire wear because he was sliding from left to right. But definitely right now, Craigo, he needs to keep in mind that if the track will get faster, and he's the only one who pitted, actually Craigo will be in a chance to get a podium position or even win the race because they're going to be so close.
Yeah, there's 14 laps left of this Grand Prix. If these guys have to pit for inters in those 14 laps, there's a good chance Craigo's going to be close enough to leapfrog all of them. So I like this gamble from Craigo. You're already towards the back. You don't have anything to lose. Why not? Why not risk it? Why not try the alternate strategy? He's essentially secured his position in the standings. He's not going to move up or down too much. Sprunky not racing as well has helped solidify that. So he doesn't have anything to lose. Why not gamble on put all your chips on red and hope that he can bring that Ferrari closer to the front? I like it. It's risky, but it is bold. 13 now laps to go once we get back going under green. 14 as we stand. Under a safety car here. And I guess I'll take this. Oh, guys, come on. Just separate. You don't need to be so close. You don't need to know what his exhaust smells like. Anyway, sorry, I was going to say, I'm just going to take this time again. Guys, if you're watching the stream, if you can comment right now. I know a few drivers watch it, so they won't be able to comment. But make your predictions. Who do you think is going to finish at the front here with this late safety car? Will we see Craigo? Will we see somebody who's not even, let's say, in the top 5 right now win this race? Or are you going to go with a safe bet? Let us know in the comments what your winner or podium prediction is as we stand on this lap 23 safety car. And Ephraim, since you are in the party, I feel like it's only right that I ask the question to you as well. Maybe give the viewers a couple of ideas. Who do you think is going to be on the podium?
It depends about how the track is going to evolve, but definitely right now Craigo is looking as...
All right, list off 3 names very quickly. We're about to get back under green. You have until the start-finish line before I start talking over you. Podium picks, go.
Aizen.
All right.
Bakker, Bumblebee.
Aizen, Bakker, Bumblebee, you heard it here. I'll make mine as well. I like that other strategy by Craigo, so I'm going to go Bumblebee, Aizen, Craigo. No specific order. So here we go. We made our predictions. Make yours in the chat here. But off we go. Bumblebee getting a great start. We've already got a yellow flag. I think... Oh, no. Craigo... or, sorry, not Craigo. Sinful, I think, had a moment on the restart. Let's Craigo by. And here, look at this. Aizen and... Bakker are fighting here. Aizen has been defending P2 brilliantly. But Bakker down the inside, I think he's going to be able to take it into turn 4. And there's a Renault having a peek as well. Zampi Xhaka, don't get greedy. And behind, we just saw it. Somebody's crashed into the wall. That's Hartman getting very loose off the corner. I was looking behind. We saw it just at the edge of the screen. And that Red Bull is going to be far behind and with a pit stop to go. No safety car, it seems. No VSC. Wow. Bumblebee, 1.5 second gap as we pile in through the slow sector 2, turns 9, 10, and 11. And looks like everybody keeping it clean. Nobody being naughty. Zampi Xhaka had a glance, but he backed out of that.
Craigo is so fast. He's looking really good on those tires. Fantastic move also on Monkeys. Maybe went a little bit off track, but definitely right now Craigo and Richie needs to do a best strategy for the Ferrari team.
Yeah, I think
Richie is looking to go ahead on one wing. Yes, in fact, right now Richie is running 8th place.
Yeah, one wing pitting. I think one wing may be going for the inters. I did say this track looked like it was clearing up. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a difference. Richie, though, he's already claimed the Drivers' Championship, so he can let his teammate by, or he can say, you know what, I'm the champion, I choose who stays ahead on track, and I don't think anyone would blame him for it. But if he wants to play the team game, and I know Richie's a team player, would not be surprised to see those Ferraris switch positions here. Zampi Xhaka has not gotten as close to Aizen as he did on that restart, not able to make another move just yet. F1 Richie still not letting his teammate by, but right ahead of him, Chris and always Rick seems to have they seem to have found themselves on track again. Joseph, Cozy, and Richie have found themselves on track again. This field is rather bunched up still, but we're only a lap and a bit there into our restart. Bumblebee has gotten away incredibly well, and it looks like Bakker is starting to break away from the pack with him there. Do we see any of these guys pitting first, or are they gonna be waiting, I think, until some guys outside of the top 5 make the call for inters?
I don't think they will switch for the interns now, as they know that Krago have the interns, so he will be an advantage. So I think they're going to start and try to save as much as possible tire wear on these tires. Right now I'm looking also at Bakker. He's losing time from Bumblebee, already 1.2 seconds. But also Krago, I don't think he's on the right setup, because he's losing a lot of time on Richie by literally putting his car everywhere, sliding from left to right.
Could be the inters too. Could be the inters.
Could be the inters, but he's very fast also in the straights, as you can see.
I think on the restart, the inters are definitely easier to warm up than the wets, but when you have too much standing water, they cool right back down again. Would not be surprised if that's the case here for Krago. Got excellent tire temps before the restart, and because of the standing water, still doesn't look like it cleared up quite as much as I thought it was gonna if it kept going the way it was, but he's been losing a little bit of time, you're right, to his teammate. Maybe Richie doesn't have to let him go after all.
Oh. Always Rick just got a moment as well. I don't know why, always Rick, when he gets in the pedal, he just starts the overtake. The overtake needs to really be attentive how to use it, because you will end up losing traction in the wall. In fact, he took a 3-second time penalty again.
Yeah, the overtake, if you're right behind somebody and you're trying to really get a run on them on the exit of a corner, you're going to want to use overtake right away, and then you're going to want to use it in short bursts down the straight. It's not, you can hold it, but I don't know if anybody, actually he's in the pit lane, so no issues here. If you guys have ever played Rocket League, you'll know if you use your boost all at once, you're gonna use it all, then you're not gonna go that much faster than if you just hit it in short bursts. The overtake in F1 kind of works the same way. If you're going down the straightaway and you use it in short bursts, you end up gaining more or less the same amount of speed. Obviously not quite as much, but you get close enough that the difference in ERS that you save makes it a more viable strategy. So getting on the overtake and using it through the whole straightaway, that's a great way to make sure you end up with absolutely none of it a couple of laps into the race. It's something some drivers tend to struggle with, don't you think?
Yes, I think so. Especially if you're not experienced in this race. This is not automatic. So basically you need to be really aware how to use it. And this is, Hartman! What happened to Hartman?
Oh no, another safety car here. Hartman went right off into turns 4, and you know what? One Wing's retired AI. Now this is the game taking over, so no blame on One Wing here. He did retire in the pits. I did see Hartman and that AI getting quite close together right before the safety car. I do wonder if maybe Hartman had a moment with that AI and damaged his car, and as a result, it sent him into the wall.
But he was struggling a lot. Hartman, he had several spins in the race, so basically Hartman wasn't so confident on his setup for sure. But this safety car, really, I don't know what's going to change, because it's going to give a big advantage to Bumblebee. But Bakker right now, he needs to also keep in mind that Aizen is really close to him. But Aizen have penalties, Bakker doesn't have.
Yeah, and Hartman is in our chat. Okay. Yeah, so One Wing was stopped in front of him. But yeah, Hartman, it was the AI of One Wing. He retired in the pits like he was supposed to. He followed the rules. The game took over and did not move his car out of the way fast enough.
Let's talk a little bit also about Monkeys. A very quiet race by Monkeys. I expected to see a little bit more from him. Maybe he's not confident on the wets.
And I don't mean to call him out or anything, but this is insider information that I know because I live with him. Did not see a lot of Brazil time trial this week from Monkeys. So I think maybe just not as happy with his setup as he would be on a normal race week. In return, that ends up costing him a little bit of pace. Because I did not, let's just say I did not see that F1 2020 boot up a whole lot in the past couple of days. So could just be that Brazil is just in the wet. It's just not something he enjoys doing.
Because we've seen also good laps by him on the 1/8 regarding the qualifying and the dry. But Monkeys, it seems that he's a little bit out of practice in here. But let's see if the safety car is going to go inside this lap. Yep.
It is, as we only have 11 runners left. Everybody thinking that those wet weather tires will get them to the end. We are going to have 7 full laps of racing left as the leaders cross the line. And we hit lap 30 out of 36. So, are we going to see a late restart? Are we going to see an early one? When is Bumblebee going to go? Looks like it's going to be right now. And didn't quite get them by surprise as Bakker is able to follow him nicely. So further back at the rear, I think some of these guys weren't quite as ready because that field has bunched up considerably very, very quickly. And they filed through turn 1 for one of the final times here in Season 4. Only a few laps to go until we sign off on this wonderful 16-round season. What a championship we've had, going right down until the before last race. Our champion currently running P8, the runner-up currently running P1, and our third place man on the season, Aizen, running P3. The guys at the front in there right up until the very end, and it's been a great season to commentate as well. Happy to have brought every single race of Season 4 to you from the ISRL commentary booth for Division 3. I've had a rotating cast of commentators, it seems, but Ephraim, I'm happy that I can share this last race of the season with you as well. So let's hope these last couple of laps are as enjoyable as the season we've had before it.
Definitely. Right now we have the last 6 laps where I'm looking and I'm also monitoring Crego's performance, because Crego, it seems that he's losing a lot of time in the straights now. Maybe a lot of water still in the track, but he's also gaining in the corners. And definitely he's trying to attack more on those tires. But let's look out on Always Rick, as it seems that Chris and Always Rick are looking to fight between them. Joseph Cozy is also trying to take the fight to Richie, as Richie right now, it seems that he's gonna try and overtake Joseph Cozy, but he didn't manage to.
Always Rick.
On the other hand,
oh, sorry to interrupt there. I was going to say Always Rick's getting close to Chris. I think Always Rick got too close to Chris because the rear of that racing point went right around. Is that another incident of Always Rick running right into the back of somebody in the same race? Remember, he's the one who sent Crego all the way to the back of the grid. And now what's happened? Crego's off the track. And Crego going right off the track, losing a few positions. And oh no, it's all unfolding in the final couple of laps of the race. I think Always Rick's in for a significant penalty. The way from what we've seen on stream, that's the second driver he's hit in the rear this race. That will give a few positions to the guy behind him if they finish this close, because of course that late safety car brought everybody closer together.
So let's not forget that Bumblebee's penalty right now is going to be removed, as he served a penalty that wasn't his fault. So right now Bakker needs to keep in mind that this race, if he's listening to us right now, he needs to overtake him on the track. So Bakker, if you're listening to us and if you are following this broadcast as well, it seems that you need to win this race on track, not with penalties. And Bumblebee is looking to get a 3-second penalty.
Very wide. Yeah, if he doesn't calm down, he might just pick one up. I don't know how many warnings he's on, but that's not what you want to see this late in the race, when the guy right behind you has no penalties, and he's that close to you. But yeah, Bakker, like we said, got to get him on track, buddy. That 5 seconds is most likely coming off So we'll tune in on that battle very shortly. I do want to give a little bit of love here to the guys further down the pack. We haven't seen much of them today because of how close our front runners have been. Cozy we've seen a little bit of, but now he's close up to Monkeys. So sister team against sister team. Krago's right behind them, eyeing them down. And this weather has balanced, I think, right on the edge of inters versus wets for a while now. But I think that in the end, going on the inters, I know it was a gamble, and gambles don't always work. But I think that... I saw an end plate. Is that Cozy having issues with a broken end plate there? It is. What's happened to that? Did he hit the wall on the inside, maybe?
Yes, Cozy, he ended up touching the grass as well.
Behind them. Oh, no. Monkeys and Krago trying to go side by side. They tap wheels. Not sure if Krago gave enough room or if Monkeys went wide. But Monkeys with a half spin. And that's going to cost him a position now to Chris, as he had to essentially start turn 3 from a standstill and lost a lot of speed down the run to the end there and to turn 4. So... not sure what to gauge of that incident right off the bat. It did not look like it was either driver's fault outright, but might see another incident getting reported to the stewards. It always kind of happens in the rain here as these guys get so close together and so slippery. There's only one line. You try to make a move, odds are you're going to end up slipping and sliding a little bit too much around the racetrack if you're not on that drier groove. These guys also battling for 7th. Oh no! Always Rick is out of spin.
Always Rick.
And he's gotten the car pointed the right way again, but look how much less speed he has. And I think he might just be able... Oh, Chris, watch out, buddy. You got to give him more room than that. I think he's just going to be able to keep the position away from Monkeys. Cozy diving in the pits. And I think that's going to be pretty much the end of his race. Rick and Monkeys getting a little close together there into turn 1, and always Rick taking another weird, interesting line through turn 1. Monkeys is definitely going to be taking a few positions here, I think, at the end of this race. As of right now, he's got the position on Krago, just off of penalties.
Right now, also, Bucker, we've seen him that in turn 1 and 2, he lost a little bit of traction as well, and right now, from 1 second almost to 1.8 seconds. So Bumblebee right now is in a very good position to win this race.
Yeah.
As said Bucker, because Aizen have 8 seconds of penalties, he's still in a good advantage to take this podium over here.
It's going to be Bacher on the top step, I think, but in the final records book, I think it's going to come down as a Bumblebee win. Stewards are still going to have a look at it. I don't want to speak too early here, but just from our point of view on stream, that's what it looked like, incidental contact from the rear. Not Bumblebee's fault at all. So I can see that penalty being removed.
And also, we don't need to forget that Bumblebee is already on a 2-second warning. Also, Pucker is on a 2-second warning. So it depends. If someone makes an error, can easily go.
Yeah, if Bumblebee takes a 3-second penalty here, it is Bacher's race. Oh, and Always Rick has had an issue. Always Rick has retired here in turn 1. Did he hit that inside wall somehow?
Again.
I think he did.
Yep. In fact,
and so we're down to 10 finishers here in Brazil.
Oh, Joseph Cozy again! He lost again his control.
Oh.
I don't know what's happening to this driver. He had a fantastic race, but in this last few laps...
Yeah, end of the race, you're down. You just want to get to the end. I doubt his concentration is... at its, I doubt he's trying to concentrate as much as he can here. I think he just wants to get to the end of the race, get the 10 points that you get for finishing 10th, and move on with his day here and move on into future seasons. Last couple of races have not been what he was hoping for from Cozy after a very strong start. So could see him regroup there and come back stronger in the future. But I think at this point, a lot of these drivers further down the grid, they're just trying to get to the end of the race here. It's the last race. Round 16 has been a long season with a lot of lockdowns and whatever going around the world. It's been a long year in general. It's been a nice little escape for it, but it does come with its own toll on the mind and everything when you're in a tight championship fight. and you have to race and give it your all weekend after weekend. These guys do it for fun, but they do take it seriously. And we do thank all of the drivers who've raced in Division 3 at some point this season, whether they started at the start, did not finish the season, joined midway and left, or joined us after the season has started and finished the season with us. Whether you guys reserved a race here or there or reserved regularly, thank you for driving with us here in ISRL. Thank you for driving in Season 4. And thank you for making Division 3 a division worth watching week after week. You guys have some of the most comments, most interactions here on our posts. You guys are passionate about racing in ISRL and sim racing in general. So we thank you for watching, for racing. Thank you for this awesome season. And one last time here, Bumblebee wins it in Brazil as he crosses the line. Bakker is going to take the win there on time penalties. I think it's going to go back Bumblebee's way. Zabijaka edges out Azen at the end for a podium. Craigo is going to cross the line. P6 as Richie crosses the line. And actually he's going to lift himself up into a podium on penalties, F1 Richie. So Ferrari P3 as it stands. Craigo finishes P6. Monkeys P7 after the penalties. He's gained a few at the end. Sinful P8. Chris P9. And Cozy is going to finish P10. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been an amazing season. I'm so happy with the way the season has gone. And I cannot wait to show you guys what we've got planned here for Season 5. Congratulations to the winners of the race, the podium holders. Congratulations to the championship winner, Richie, to Azen and Bumblebee for second and third in the championship. And to every driver who's participated, thank you guys so much. And we will be back online here in, what time is it right now? It's 12:28, so we'll be back in 30 minutes. We're going to do the interviews, don't worry, but after the interviews, we'll be back 30 minutes from now. Division 2 is going to start racing, and after that, we've got Division 1. After that, though, once Division 1 signs off, we're going to go on a bit of a little break here ahead of Season 5, and some more information on what's happening after Season 4 is going to be coming very shortly, but I think we're going to shut down there for a week or two and enjoy a nice, well-deserved break, both the staff and the drivers. But congratulations to these guys on the podium here once again. Ephraim, I don't know if you can invite some of these drivers to the party. We can get Bakker, Bumblebee, Richie. We might as well get Azen as well, so we have our seasons podium, our Drivers' Championship podium there. In the interview room as well. But your final order, Bakker is probably going to be P2, Bumblebee winning the race unofficially as it stands. F1 Richie P3, Zabijaka P4, Azen P5, Craigo P6, Monkeys P7, Sinful P8, Chris P9, Cozy P10, and then the guys that did not finish the race. Always Rick is going to be classified as 2 laps down, finishing P11. Hartman, One Wing, Doomsray, CJ Butch, your DNFs.
So it seems that Bakker right now is not online on his PSN, but I invited the other 2. Let's hope they join.
Yeah. Absolutely. It makes...
that we really love and do it for free, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is something that also when you race and you commentate, you know more the race and you know more what to talk about.
It's been absolutely a pleasure sharing the commentary booth with you, Ephraim. Best of luck on the Division 2 race. Like I mentioned, it's going to be on this channel in not too long, so make sure to tune into that. We've got some of our podium holders here in the interview room, and it just so happens that they finished 1 and 2 in the championship as well. Bumblebee, I'll start with you, and let me actually just change over to your car here. So just from what we've seen on the broadcast, we think that penalty, that 5 second you got early on in the race would get deducted, making you, as I understand it, the unofficial winner of this race, but you finished P2 on the race director screen. What was that race like for you? Can you take us through a little bit how it went?
Sorry, again?
Sorry?
Can you ask that again?
Yeah, absolutely. If my hunch stays true, and that penalty, that 5 second you got under the first safety car for getting hit in the rear, does get removed, it would make you the winner of this race. However, unofficially as it stands, you are P2. Can you take us through that race and kind of what went right, what went wrong?
Well, obviously that went wrong. But no, first I had to get by Gregor, which I needed a little time for. And after that I just sent it.
Yeah, you had a 5 second gap almost at some point, and next thing we knew, it was down to about a second. Did you have a spin or something mid-race?
Coming out of turn 2, I spun one time.
You managed to keep it on track, mostly get going. Luckily, you didn't lose any positions, so that's good for you.
Yeah.
I think this makes it official that you are P2 in the championship. I'm sure you wanted that number 1 slot, but runner-up isn't anything to be mad or sad about. How did the championship, how did the season, you feel, go for you?
Well, the first 5 races I don't want to talk about, but after that I got it together and keep climbing up with the season.
It was definitely an amazing second half of the season for you. You winning, I think, more races than any other driver on the grid since the halfway mark, and it gives you the runner-up, so maybe we'll see your name next to the number 1 slot after next season. But congratulations on all the racing, on all the races, and thank you for showing up week after week and delivering performances that are worth watching. We'll move on to the man who clinched the championship last week out, gets a lucky, and I only say lucky because I don't think any of us expected it towards the last couple of laps of the race, but you getting the 3rd place on penalties there. It was a well-raced race for you. You weren't quite as high up on the grid as we're used to seeing you. Can you take us through that race and what went right, what went wrong, what you could have done different?
I wouldn't have done anything different, really. I was in a position to relax more today, and just wanted to keep it on track, avoid the penalties as usual, and keep out of trouble. A few people got moves on me. I didn't have that much pace compared to most, but I knew if I could keep it clean, I may gain some at the end. I didn't expect that many, but good result, and well done, Bumblebee and Barker.
And so like I told Bumblebee, it's been a long season, but I'm sure you're going to be more pleased than anybody else there about the way it ended. Thank you for delivering week after week. Thank you for giving us some good action on track. Now, heading into season 5, is there anything that you think you can improve from this season and perhaps make next season even better?
Just the little things that you can learn, the little mistakes you make, like speeding penalties when the safety car's going in or the VSC is ending. Little things like that can ruin your race and take a lot of points off you. So aside from that, I can't see me getting any faster, but I think the rest of the division will be.
And we'll see once the lineups get announced there sometime in the run-up to F1 2021 being released. We're like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be taking a bit of a break. There's going to be team events and whatnot, and some one-off for fun stuff between now and season 5. But as it stands, season 5 is going to be starting sometime in early August. of this year. So after F1 2021 runs out, lots of time for everybody to practice, lots of time for everybody to take a break. I'm going to ask this question for both of you. Which one is it going to be? Are you guys going to enjoy a nice vacation, or is it back to the drawing board, back to grinding and trying to work on Season 5?
Well, we'll still be practicing every week. Definitely do a race every week just to keep sharp. And we'll see what the new game is like.
We'll figure that out sometime in mid-July. Bumblebee, what about you? Is it going to be an off season of practice, or are you going to take it easier?
No, I will keep practicing.
All right, so I think we know who's going to be at the forefront of the Season 5 championship, wherever you guys end up racing, division-wise, I mean. So practicing the whole season. I know I'm taking a few weeks off, but I think that's why I might always be out in Q1 in the Division 1 races. So maybe I'll have to start doing like you guys a bit more. Anyways, I think that's going to be the end of our broadcast here. It's 24 minutes away from Division 2. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in, and I gave my whole little spiel there during the race. I'm not going to bore you with that again. Just my huge thanks to everybody who's tuned in, liked, commented, shared our streams, shared, commented, reacted, anything on social media, bought merch, whatever else have you, and most importantly, the drivers and anybody who's raced with us this season. Signing off one final time for Division 3, Season 4. Thank you for watching round 16 out of 16, the season finale. Thank you for watching Season 4, and thank you for watching ISRL Esports. I'm ISRL Knight, and take care, guys, and I will see you sometime, I guess, in the future, and if not, then I will see you for sure come Season 5. Have a wonderful rest of your days.